When you see this 4-letter logo, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? The answer is likely to be Sonic the Hedgehog, as it's basically synonymous with Sega company as a whole, despite Sonic franchise being a fraction of Sega's real business. Unlike Sonic, it generates billions of dollars every year, and you probably didn't even know about it, which is not surprising because Sega historically has been very allergic to the idea of ordinary people knowing that there are exclusive games and media out there that Sega won't let you have access to, or at least not anymore. Let it be because of licensing issues and complex logistics, or simply because Sega is a little bit out of touch sometimes. If you look at the company's history, you will see that the answer lies somewhere in the middle. So in this video, I want to talk about a very special game that you may have seen and maybe even played, but had no idea that you weren't supposed to. Welcome to Place Japan, and to be more specific, welcome to the world of amusement machines. We can divide these machines in two different categories: arcade and pachinko. This is how Sega actually makes its money, and it's fair to assume that you didn't know that it doesn't just bring millions, but billions every single year, despite neither of these two being technically meant to be accessed in the United States through official means at the time of making this video, including cabinets like these, which you might find very surprising, as you may have a memory of seeing or even playing one of these games, and it actually might be the case, except you were not supposed to, depending on where and when that happened. For complicated reasons, Sega is not a big fan of anybody even talking about it, and if I try to elaborate those complicated reasons, I might get into trouble. For the sake of simplicity, let's just say that there's multiple Sega companies, and the one responsible for this stuff in the Western world doesn't really exist in the traditional sense anymore. Although, once again, it's a little complicated and is outside of scope of this video, which is also the reason why I didn't mention the claw machines and a couple of other small things. This context, however, plays a huge role in the main topic of this video, a very special game that I want you to know about and perhaps even play one day, through legal means of course. Initial D. Let's put it this way, if you ever listen to Eurobeat, then you probably need no introduction to Initial D, and if you know anything about Initial D, you might know that this franchise extends well beyond just anime and manga. What may come as a surprise, however, is that there are over 20 official video games that get released almost annually even in the recent years. So how come you've never seen one for sale on Steam or modern home consoles? That's because since the days of PSP, pretty much all of the game rights became Sega's, which is not a video game company, it is the amusement machine company that also does video games on the side. So you can kind of draw the dots here, but don't immediately assume that the games are basic just because they're inside an arcade cabinet. There is a reason why Sega makes billions of its amusement machine business. Outside of Sega's Golden Geese, which are My and Tunithm, Initial D is one of, if not the biggest non-rhythm game that still regularly gets updates and new content, and yet for complicated reasons, Sega doesn't want you to even know that it exists. They've been scraping mentions and documentation about this game in English language for years now, so unless you're in Japan or know Japanese language, pretty much everything you learn about this game is through other people. And trust me, the more you know about the game, the better it gets. Unlike other entries in the series, this game is officially called Initial D the Arcade, making it very difficult for people to do research for. Imagine if Toyota released a new vehicle and just called it the car, but only after releasing Car 2, Car 3, Car 8 Infinity and a bunch of others. Despite all the installments, the core concept of these games remain the same. There's a huge focus on drifting, defending and overall technique. It's a game where even the old Corolla can beat the GTR, and in many cases very likely will. The game features about 15 distinct levels and over 50 cars that you can fully customize and modify. Unlike with traditional racing games, the cars have unique stats that are influenced by the course selected. The car physics behave very differently, and there are mainly two categories of cars: technical and power. Technical cars are best suited for complex courses with a lot of tight corners. They're easier to slide and generally maintain their speed better during drifting, especially when compared to power cars that are more focused on straight speed. The cars also have a subcategory for their best track use case, such as downhill, hill climb, or all-rounder. Depending on the season, there are multiple game modes, but I'll focus on the one people care the most about: local battle. This is how you play this game with friends and strangers. You can access it even without a save card as a guest, but your car selection will be limited and the cars won't have any upgrades, which is something I'll cover later. If you select this game mode and nobody else does the same, you'll be offered to play time trial or story mode, but as long as you see this yellow banner at the top, anyone can still challenge you, so don't worry about timing it at the same time with your friends. If you get challenged by another player, the first screen just asks you if you would like to have an open or private battle. Private battle will remove the ability of other players to join this and subsequent races. If you select an open battle, then the yellow banner at the top will stay, allowing more local players to join and start the battle all over if it was already in progress. During the first loading sequence, you can check your opponent's cars, as you can only have 3 active vehicles at a time. This will give you a good idea of what you're gonna be dealing with and mentally prepare you if you're about to get your ass kicked, if their high rank wasn't enough an indication already, which is generally pretty much indirectly tied to your playtime. You'll be prompted to select a course, its direction and time of day. Nighttime is more difficult as your visibility both rear and forward is limited, plus your opponent can turn off the headlights, forcing you to defend blindly. Before the game starts, you'll be given one more screen that looks like this, and you will have a few seconds to press and hold the brake pedal if you would like to disable boost. The boost is a handicap rubber band catch-up mechanic. If the player gets too far ahead, the opponent gets a boost of stats, allowing them to quickly close the gap and even overtake, making the game more intense and allowing even new players to have a chance, assuming the player ahead fails to defend. All players must agree to disable boost, otherwise it will be enabled. With higher ranks, the amount of boost will decrease when it's enabled, and you can't change the amount in any other way. From this point, it's time to race, and this battle won't be anything that you would find in modern mainstream games, due to the game's core mechanics. You slide fast, like really fast, so long you do it right. The game has a hidden mechanic that kicks in the moment you graze a wall, which not only slows you down, but also limits your acceleration depending on severity of the impact. So simply put, just don't hit walls. But notice how I was very specific about hitting walls and not other cars. Imagine bumper cars on a race truck. Now imagine that but with Eurobeat. This is what makes this game so unique. It's not just a feature, it's how this game is actually meant to be played. That's right, you can collide into other cars as much as you want, either for fun or strategic reasons, because while a tiny Honda may not seem like a big threat, it sure changes once somebody starts going the wrong way, and when you get multiple players on a tight track, the entire racecourse turns into complete chaos. It's really fun, and the description alone won't do it justice. The way physics work in this game is truly bizarre and magical. Many courses also have unique gimmicks, from oil spills and ice to usable rain gutters and level skips that require you to do this. Seeing somebody doing it in person is incredible. Being able to do it yourself is on a whole different level. But you don't need to be the best in order to have fun. But there's one catch. You kind of do need an upgraded car to unlock the full game. When you acquire your first car or play as a guest, what the game doesn't tell you is that no matter what car you choose, it will not drive properly. It's actually locked under very limited stats that you can't even really see anywhere in the game, but you will absolutely feel it. If you play the game enough, you will notice a few strange game design choices, but even sooner you will notice that some of them are the reason why the arcade business brings Sega so much money instead of Sonic. For instance, in order to upgrade the car, you have to play the story mode, and to play each level, you have to insert one coin. Each time you complete a level without losing, you get to install one upgrade on your car, the order of which does not really matter, because once you do it about 15 times, your car gets the full tune status, which allows you to access the main game, and drive cars the way they were meant to be driven. You can only have 3 active cars at a time, so if you wanted to fully upgrade them, that would mean that you have to insert at least 45 coins, and that's assuming that you don't want to upgrade the rest of your cars. Why is the game designed this way? Well, we call it BS. Because Sega. But on the bright side, at least you're able to save your progress using save cards that you can use in every arcade that supports it, allowing you to avoid starting all over every time. Everything mentioned in this video only scratches the surface of what Initial D gets to offer, but I don't want to get on the bad side of Sega, so it's better to experience the rest of the game yourself, given the chance. Please don't publicly ask or share where you can play it. Unfortunately, Sega has a history of taking ridiculous action against those who discuss this topic, so it will do more harm than good both to you and the community. It's stupid, I know, and hopefully Sega will come to its senses after this video and stop blindly taking down projects or any footage of the game. Or even better, return to the United States and allow more players to access games like Initial D and tune them directly from Sega, but this time without abandoning the cabinets like they've done multiple times in the past. And please stop making NFT games in 2025. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.